Are on.
Okay, I will call tonight's meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First order of business is approval of the agenda.
I'll wait till we get into the agenda then.
Anybody got anything to add to the agenda? Not? Any motion to approve it?
Second.
Motion to approve, seconded. All those in favor? Public forum. This is the point of the meeting where we'd like to receive, or we are interested in any public comment from non-agenda items. Is there anybody in the public that would like to say something, make a comment, ask a question? Okay. Next item is approval of the minutes, November 24th, 2014.
We don't have to put on here that the special town meeting was first. These are just the minutes of the meeting.
These are just the minutes of the meeting. I can put following, if you'd like.
Well, the special town meeting really had nothing to do with the board of
One
selectmen.
meeting.
So,
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
motion, I hear a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Committee and board reports.
The EDC meeting for tomorrow night has been postponed to a date uncertain at this point. I believe it'll be December 16th, which is the Tuesday following. So they will not be meeting tomorrow night. The Board of Assessment Review will meet tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in the Fire Station Meeting Room, 468 Limerick Road, weather permitting. Planning Board will meet Thursday with the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee, Thursday night, 7 p.m. here in the library. And there will be no second Planning Board meeting in December because of the Christmas holiday.
Okay, and I did not make my last Monday's RSU 21 meeting. Haven't had a chance to go look at it online. So. Okay, anybody else got anything else? Committee board reports?
Friday morning, 7:30, the RSU Finance Committee is meeting in room 101, and I won't be there this Friday morning.
Okay, on a new business. Town manager and public works director request for approval of amendments to the holiday pay section of personnel policy for Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day specifically.
I'll defer to Roger's better judgment. We've had conversations, and somewhere along the course of time, a clause disappeared in the holidays section of the personnel policy. Roger brought it to my attention that, similar to the language that you see in the copy that's underlined here, full-time employees required to work on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day specifically will be compensated 2 times their regular rate of pay for those specific holidays, plus 8-hour holiday pay at their regular pay rate. This is something that you can speak to because you've been here longer than I have, Roger, but I did see the copy that Roger gave me. I went through the changes, the history of changes, and I didn't notice anywhere in any of that history of changes where there was that change was officially made.
The original personnel policy said that they would pay anybody for working on a holiday 2 times their hourly rate. Didn't say anything about the holiday pay. So, if anybody that didn't work that holiday got their holiday pay, and that was it. The union contract had it at 2 times for Christmas and Thanksgiving only. Everything else, you work holiday, it's time and a half, plus the holiday pay. But Christmas and Thanksgiving were the only 2. And then personnel policy somewhere along the line got changed, and it says time and a half for Christmas and holiday, period, that's it. So, for quite a while, through the union contract, which obviously we no longer have a union, there is no more contract, but it's kind of hard sometimes to pry somebody away. We worked on both of those days. We worked on Thanksgiving Day this year. It's still a possibility. A couple of years ago, we did.
So it's your recommendation, Roger, that we adjust the policy to?
Back to what it was
That's what it was.
originally,
But,
which
I mean,
Which is.
those 2 days only.
That's correct. Specifically, Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day would be double time plus the holiday pay. Any other holiday would remain time and a half.
Problem is, for what you get killed on taxes, you're better off to stay home and leave them. So soon as they're all those holidays, there'll be one truck circling around the whole town. Well, guess who's driving that truck?
Yeah.
If that's the case, there probably won't be one smaller one behind it.
No,
And on the other end of town, that'll be me. Can't leave Roger hanging like that. So,
I guess I gotta ask a question, why would Christmas or Thanksgiving be any different than any other holiday?
the direct quote from me from the second in command at Public Works is nobody else really gives a damn about the other holidays. But people want to be with their, like, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, those aren't big family days. And so that's, obviously 4th of July, there's not gonna snow. But there were, what, 6 or 7
Just 7 days.
that fall where it could potentially snow. From
Fall, the snow season. So.
Columbus Day to probably Patriots Day, there could be a possibility, but the concern from the full-timers is that on Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're actually being pulled away from your family. And that was where it came from initially, and that's where I agree with Roger and Terry on that.
I know with my company, it's any holiday you work, you get double time plus your holiday pay.
I make a motion that we'd authorize this as written.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, any more discussion?
That's just Thanksgiving and Christmas.
What's the pay week, Roger? When's the,
Midnight Saturday night, so 12:01 Sunday morning through to.
so what happens if it's like an overtime on those 2 holidays? Does that come into play at all? Would there ever be a time where it's double overtime pay plus time and a?
No, they would get their holiday pay, 8 hours of holiday pay and double time for any hours worked in that 24-hour period of the holiday. All the others, again, are time and a half, and they don't really care about that. But
Yeah, and sometimes they work just about that whole 24-hour period
Mhm.
too.
yeah, it all depends on how the snows fall. We worked 8 hours Thanksgiving Day this year.
Well, it only snows weekends and holidays.
I do my best to schedule snowstorms Monday through Friday between 8 and 3, but
Well, nobody's listening to you.
Mother
Okay,
Nature's-
we have a motion, any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Next item is Board of Selectmen sign a municipal quitclaim deed about covenant to discharge tax liens for an L West property on 132 Portland Road, tax map 35, lot 11.
that is correct. This property was in bankruptcy, the property has been sold. Since it was in bankruptcy, we're not allowed to just pursue foreclosures, but part of the agreement from what I understand, is this property was allowed to be sold and the back taxes, and the taxes need to be paid and made current, and that is what this quitclaim deed provides. The third page that you see is the receipts for all of the years' interest, and showing that the $29,359.42 in taxes have been paid.
Oh, so I already have been paid.
Yeah,
Does that make a motion then that we sign the quitclaim deed?
A motion, do I hear a second? Any discussion?
I would just note, I don't think you need all these acknowledgements.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Her attorney drafted this quickly, and Simone and I said the same thing. I don't believe we need to
I
have
know,
every
it's
single
been
one
all
of them.
together as one, really.
Do it en masse.
Actually, I could probably redo the back page
Yeah.
and just notarize it, you know,
That takes Dan's.
with all the names together,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Next item is town manager's request for authorization to expend $4,500 from the admin capital equipment reserve for purchase of replacement copier.
I didn't want to disappoint you or make it seem like I was beginning a pattern of behavior, but there will be no need to make a decision on this copier this evening. We had some technical issues with the copier last week, and so I told Diane I can't sign this until I'm assured that whatever the glitch is in the machine isn't a serious problem, so they're gonna pull that machine out of town hall, send it out, had it completely looked through, and I told her if there's anything wrong. I mean, it's a $12,000 unit for $4,500, 150,000 copies into it, and it's good for $2 million, but I told her I'm not buying a piece of equipment that I can't be sure is going to work. Fortunately, the issue came up before we pulled the trigger on that, so they're gonna do a complete diagnostic by pulling it off-site. And if they can't assure us that that unit is going to be 100% as it should, as new, we'll continue looking, and may have to go RFP route to see if there's a new unit out there that we need rather than this used one. It is a very nice unit, works very nicely, but I couldn't be comfortable with the issues that it was giving me. And so I will keep you abreast of this. Diane wasn't sure if they'd be able to have it turned around by the next meeting. She said that we can anticipate something at the beginning of the year next year, and if they can't repair it, we'll do an RFP to try to find a piece that fits our needs.
Okay. Very good. Next item is, the town manager would like to recant all statements in regards to Du Bois Livestock at November 10th, 2014 meeting.
I will not go point by point through the letter. I will just officially recant any and all statements that I made at the meeting on November 10th. And if anybody has any specific questions in regards to this matter, they can direct them to me, and I will direct them to the proper agency to answer the questions for them.
Good. Next item, town manager informed the Board of Selectmen of request for settlement in regards to a September 29, 2014 mutual aid EMS call in Kennebunk.
This is, I'm sure you read the complaint. Mr. Cody. It's been forwarded to Trident. They've assigned an attorney. Reynolds spoke to Trident today. He does believe that the town of Arundel has no fault in this. So fortunately, or unfortunately, the town of Kennebunk and the town of Arundel both go through Trident Insurance, so their attorneys are working together to see if there is a way to release any liability on behalf of the town of Arundel. They've been provided with run reports, they've been given, the insurance company has been given accounts from the individuals who are on scene. The attorney believes that Kennebunk will be shouldering this complaint. So that final conversation with the insurance company's attorneys happened today. So we'll keep you posted as we know more. So it was a case of mutual aid gone wrong. And there was no official court complaint. This is just a request to settle at this point in time. But we've handed it over. That's why we have public liabilities and public official liability insurance and or general liability insurance. And I'll keep you posted as to what happens.
Very good.
Municipality's a big target on them at this time of year.
For $2.5 million.
It's a big target.
Okay. For Eric,
Yep. All right.
I know.
Next item, town manager to inform the board of selectmen of an RFP for audit services for a fixture year 15 through fixture year 18-19.
Yes. I apologize, in the memo I wrote RFP for legal services, the agenda is correct, it is audit services. This was the last year with our current auditors. I'll be mailing this out unless there's anybody that caught anything that needs to be changed. This will go out tomorrow morning to all of the auditing firms in the state of Maine. I've requested it to be back by January 23rd, 2015, so that a decision can be made on the 26th at the regularly scheduled selectmen's meeting. Five years is the limit of the amount of time that I'm allowed to go out to contract for.
Okay, anybody got comments? Okay. Next item is town manager update selectmen on the Maine Supreme Judicial Court denial of Du Bois Livestock motion for reconsideration in Du Bois Livestock versus the town of Arundel.
We leave it that simply. The Maine Supreme Judicial Court has denied the motion for reconsideration.
Okay. Next item.
I have a question.
Yes.
The court said in their findings that it was not a farm. But, right, the DEP and those other agencies have it licensed as a farm. Who has precedence? Who takes precedence there?
It
The
is.
court's decision was that Du Bois is not a farm for purposes of the Agricultural Protection Act.
Well, okay.
Okay? And because it's not a farm, it cannot be a composting, agricultural composting operation too, because that's the definition. You gotta be a farm to be one of those. So that's what the court said.
All right.
And I don't know what information was supplied to the other two agencies to come to other conclusions, but
But which
generally, when the Maine Supreme Judicial Court comes to a decision, I don't care what the other agencies say. They trump everybody,
Okay, that's my question.
contrary
Okay.
to some other opinions that you see.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Okay. Next item, Board of Selectmen consideration of holding regularly scheduled meeting on December 22nd, 2014.
Oh, hi, how you doing? I thought there was more to that agenda item.
No.
Typically, that last meeting of December is held at Town Hall at 4 o'clock, just to sign payroll and payable warrants. The board is so inclined, we'll do that. If the board would like to have a full-blown meeting that week, I'm more than happy to do that as well.
What's the board's pleasure?
I think we all
Hey, it's
do
a
that.
Christmas tradition,
It is a Christmas tradition here in Arundel that predates me.
We don't want to break
We
tradition.
can't break traditions, so.
So we'll have just a meeting to sign the warrant at the town hall.
Will do. Slow down, you make me look at it.
4 o'clock. We'll put it on, so. Okay, treasurer's report.
And unless you have any questions, everything seems to be in good shape. I will inform you though, a wonderful article today in the Portland Press Herald, that our fine Governor Paul LePage is now after our excise tax. He's going to try to make towns and cities justify the funds that are being spent on roads. We spend well in excess of what we take in excise tax revenue on our roads here in Arundel, but I believe that will be he has announced that's going to be his next course of action, is to try to take back excise tax revenues for the town if we're not using them properly. And as you can see in this, on page 1 of the revenue summary report, we're 5 months into the fiscal year. We've already collected 50% of our excise tax revenue, and that's $337,000. So if Governor LePage is successful, that's another $675,000 in revenue that the town will lose on top of the already in excess of $200,000 in revenue sharing that they've taken away from us. On top of the unfunded mandates and other areas where they've stopped funding. We are at the hold harmless level when it comes to the highway block grant, which used to be known as URIP and now is, I believe, known as LRAP. Homestead exemptions have been cut by the state of Maine, so it's just, one thing after another. Municipalities, the town managers I've spoken to, most of us are members of Maine Town and City Managers Association. There are ethical tenets that we can't take political positions on matters, so we're all trying to get the York County legislative group. It's a lobbyist that Eaton Peabody provides to the York County managers to lobby on behalf of York County to take some of these matters up. The feeling is that anytime the legislature does something, they kind of go back on what it is they do for us. So there's a point where we need to push back. Question I asked is how come the hospitals got paid? The answer from the lobbyist was that we can't support any candidate for governor. So there's no money behind the municipalities and the managers. They don't provide funds to campaigns. So we're on the losing end of the stick every single time. And at some point, there have been smaller towns who said they're going to go to the legislature, hand over the deeds to the town and say, then you win it. We do a lot of business for the town. We have a lot of mandates that, for the state, we have a lot of mandates that are placed upon us for things that we have to do as a municipality for the state. And at some point, if the revenue keeps getting cut, we're going to have to push back and say that we're no longer going to do these things for you. And that's what municipalities are looking at doing right now, is what services that we offer for the state that we will no longer offer. It'll be unfortunate for the residents of the town because things like hunting and fishing licenses, those are the things that will be affected because the town sees very little revenue from those. But right now, there's a group that's looking at exactly how we're going to push back because we can't just let them keep stripping us of all this revenue. In the long run, it turns into your tax dollars, your property taxes go up. You may be paying less taxes at the state level. They may eliminate income tax, which is something that's been proposed by the governor this year. But long and short of it is property taxes go up because of things like that. So we're doing what we can to try to fight back, and hopefully this is just another flash in the pan, and this isn't going to go down because it's a considerable chunk of revenue for the town of Arundel once again.
So that revenue that we take in an excise tax, we spend all of it on roads and road-related,
And then some.
I would imagine that plowing, sanding, we plowed the Log Cabin Road and
Public Works budget is $662,000 a year. What percentage of that would you say goes to our roads, Roger? All of it?
Years ago, we had a separate snow count, so it was easy to track. That was about 200,000.
Yeah.
So even if you pulled out salaries, you can't take care of roads without salaries, but even if you pulled out salaries, we still spend more on the roads, with the
We spent
equipment,
$450
just on paving.
Just on
and-
paving.
Yeah,
construction projects.
yeah.
Oh. So,
If you pull out salary,
you spent $750 million.
Yeah.
you pull out salary in Public Works, you're still spending $300,000 a year to provide some sort of service to that. It's
Well, maybe what we pay over what we collect in excise tax, maybe then if we send a report to the state, maybe they would then send us what's over.
the legislature may agree to do that, but then they're just changing their mind.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating from this end. There's been several different iterations of ways to change excise tax. You all agree, you all live in Maine, I agree. I live in Maine, I pay a lot of money for excise tax when I register a vehicle. One of the pushbacks that we attempted was the first time that a vehicle is sold in the state of Maine, you pay sales tax. After that, there's no sales tax paid to the state of Maine. Because some of these vehicles that get traded in every year, there's $10,000, $15,000 worth of state sales tax that's being paid on those vehicles. So if you want to take away if you want to find a way to charge the people of Maine less money to register a vehicle, then the first time that vehicle is registered in the state of Maine as a brand new vehicle, you pay sales tax, and from that point on, private sales don't aren't covered by sales tax. That wasn't well received and it was pushed back on, but we have to find that there has to be a compromise somewhere or else the taxpayers end up paying all that burden.
Oh, I'm sure the auto dealers are not, wouldn't be happy about that.
Well, I mean, it would drive more used vehicles than it would brand new vehicles.
It used to be 20 years ago that a municipality could enact a speed ordinance so that all of the revenue from speeding tickets came back to the town. And this legislature eliminated that when it was all rolled into MRSA 17A, where now the city of Bedford works very hard to keep people from speeding on their roads, and all of that revenue goes to the state of Maine. And so we don't even have the ability to enact a local speed ordinance so that we can collect those funds. So we just hand it over. Troy does. Troy has the highest number of speed summonses in the entire York County. And none of that revenue comes back to the town of Willow. And so on top of that, he has to go to court if somebody contests it, he has to go to court, he gets paid overtime for that, so the county's paying for that. So somewhere along the line, towns need to get made whole, and it's not happening anytime soon.
And ultimately, when you come down to it, almost 90% of what we do at the counter is, I mean, elections they give us the supplies, so the ballots, things like that, but the municipalities pay for the clerks and run the elections, your car registrations, ATVs, boats, snowmobiles, that's all at the counter. Other than the collecting the excise tax that stays with us, everything
Else goes right
Everything
back.
on the vital records we do for the state, that, we send them a portion back, and which they just started getting a portion back within the last couple of years, but everything they want us to do everything online now, so we're doing things online, Moses and everything, but we're still doing all of the work for the state, for our customers.
If you don't like, I can send you a list of the 19 unfunded mandates that the state imposes upon municipalities, and it's pretty eye-opening. I can very easily send a copy of that to you, just so you know what municipalities are doing and not being reimbursed. And I'm sorry to sound negative, but every single time you open the paper, there's another source of revenue they're trying to take away from us.
What was on the ballot several years ago about excise tax? Was that to eliminate excise tax?
Remember, they wanted to do it on sales, on the actual sale price of the vehicle as opposed to the MSRP. Was one of the-
There was something about reducing the rates, or like making them, I think they were going to be either extending the years, or they've talked about different
It was
options.
soundly defeated it.
But, yeah,
I
or,
can't remember the ballot question.
I'll have to look at it, but there was something to do, I know they've talked before about maybe changing the amount of time, but I can't remember what it was, it was to eliminate something for excise tax, and the municipalities said, it's a
Yeah.
revenue for roads. and
Sorry for that tangent, that wasn't actually the treasurer's report, but it sent me off into a hole.
Okay, I figured I'd just let you run it. You never have that opportunity, so.
One thing on the treasurer's report, are we looking into the insurance issue? Because that's we're
Jeff-
over budget on all of them.
Yeah, Jeff Cole and I have had the conversation. Actually, when I brought this to his attention, I reminded him that we need to sit down and meet on that. So
Yeah.
hopefully definitely by the end of this year, it'll be done. Hopefully by the end of this actual calendar year, he and I will get together and have it. When I redid the application for all of the municipal coverage, there was a considerable amount that changed because there were some new categories where things were being double counted. And I spoke to Jeff and I said, can I count road repairs in this section and in this section? So it was an actual reduction. So I'm thinking that it'll go down to that. But also, when the insurance went up by 25% for our automobile insurance, we're going to look into all of that package of insurances to see what we can save this coming year.
Okay, the last item on the new business is the review and sign of payroll and AP warrants.
So moved.
Motion. We have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried. Old business. Update Selectmen on anticipated DECD approval of seasonal cottages TIF district. as well as construction schedule.
This draft is almost identical to the one that was provided to us in August. I just received this at, I don't know, it was about noon time today. So I didn't see any substantive changes that we were concerned about. Rick Cheney and the seasonal cottages folks haven't been able to review them. So once we've heard their comments, then I'll bring this back to the board to see if everybody's in favor. Until such time as the commissioner has signed this, we still have not signed the credit enhancement agreement, so we're just waiting for the final approval from the commissioner on this report. But it is fairly the same document we saw in August. It is, we're talking the future there because it's the date.
It's December 19th.
I noticed that when I came in. I said, well, the commissioner doesn't really want to be rushed. So, once I've had, initially, Rick Cheney, we had gotten a draft version of this on Friday. Initially, Rick Cheney and the seasonal cottages folk were fine with what they saw. They just have to review this, get their final okay, and then the commissioner will give his final approval so we can move forward with the credit enhancement agreement. So I'll keep you posted on that as well.
Okay. Good. Okay, does the board have any other business?
If I may, I'm not a board member, but as is very well clarified in the letter from last week, I am not a board member. But the Christmas tree lighting went very well. Thanks again to Phil, the crew, Roger, the crew, everybody that helped out. The timer worked. We got everything to line up just right, and so I think it was a very good event. And then other business, I did speak with Barry Chef today. I sent you an email, Roger, I don't know if you got that, but he was okay with the fact that we're going to send that out to RFP. His recommendation was that we don't send it out right away because you can't do that work until spring. He said once it freezes and there's snow on the ground, it's hard to do those kind of surveys. The RFP is drafted in consultation with Barry. We'll wait until right before spring to send that out so that it's fresh and we don't have to worry about any time lapses so that the prices won't go up, but you will be getting on the project as well.
Good. How's, now that we had a little bit of snow, have there been any issues at all with the parking for the trail over on Limerick Road here? Anything that you've seen, Lodge, or?
No, we did initially get plowed first day, and I said, hey, that's one of the things we need to keep open, so it's gonna be plowed sand.
Yeah.
Even when it wasn't plowed and sand, people were climbing the snowbank and parking there, so I don't know if they're cross-country skiing out there or snowshoeing.
People definitely use it for cross-country skiing, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about that.
And it has been well used.
Yeah,
Intent is to keep it open.
yeah, good. Excellent. Board have anything else? Okay, a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried.
Let me turn the camera off.
7.